Oh, the albums. 2025. You shouldn't have. You haven't seen too much of me lately, so I feel like I have to turn in this big report at the end of the semester, to miraculously come up with a B in this class of YouTube or whatever. And I say B because I am bringing the heat with this mid-year albums list. Yeah, I've missed some class, I've been absent, but these are some great albums, and it's better late than never when it comes to music. So here are my favorite albums of 2025 so far. In no particular order, this isn't ranked, it's just an eclectic batch of pretty under-the-radar tunes, which is what my channel's all about. There are about, 15-ish albums here, so I'll just give you a little flavor of what each one's about so you know what you're getting into. And first up is a reinvigorated return from singer-songwriter Andy Schauf and his band from Saskatchewan, Foxwarren, with the album 2. Andy has such a unique voice, not only his physical voice, but his narrative songwriting. And this one isn't written as a narrative, but has a distinct theme of communication with songs like Listen to Me and Say It and Dance and Round and Round. It's this interaction between two people. The first Foxwarren album is very breezy indie folk, and this one draws a lot more from like plunderphonics and hip-hop production styles with all these old movie clips and very just faster pacing. It's still quite a soft record, but the songwriting's amazing throughout, like the song Avon with its super interesting vocal melody and Andy's signature intimate delivery. So much emotion there, and an incredible song, and there are a ton of them on this record. Next up is an artist called Jaco Joo with a short and sweet little album called Gremlin. I covered this earlier this year. If you like the softer, jazzy psych pop side of King Gizzard, then you're gonna dig this. Psych pop with some 70s funk, some soft rock, vibrant songs, concise songs. The very soulful vocals do remind me a lot of Kevin Parker, so if you like that sound that's so last decade at this point, bands like Unknown Mortal Orchestra and Mild High Club, then definitely check this out. I get emailed albums from time to time, and unfortunately I don't always have time to check everyone out. But a really good tactic, just FYI, is to just go ahead and send the physical album. Like that is gonna get you head and shoulders above anyone else. And this guy did that. His name is Harkness. And this is his first album, and I even, kept the nice little note because that's sweet. Apparently the second one is also on the way, which is the one I'm going to talk about today, which is called Ciao to the Beauty. Lemon Twigs fans, don't walk, run to this album. It's lush indie retro pop, super smart and kind of dorky chord progressions, and you got strings, you got horns, you got reeds, and just a beautiful spirit of exploration here and just fun, quirky energy. It's bursting with ideas. The next one is also for Lemon Twigs fans, but instead of the progressive pop of Harkness, you got some jangle pop. It's more on that side of that mod music, that British invasion influenced music. And that is the scuzzy lo-fi album Radio DDR by Sharp Pins from Chicago. Undeniable vocal melodies and harmonies and guitar chord choices. The 12-string Rickenbacker is just working. It's just pure ear candy for fans of this formula. And next up is a much different album, an album I reviewed earlier this year from Black Country New Road, had to be on this list, Forever Howlong. This is my favorite Black Country New Road album. I'll just come right out and say it. I think the three front women and their vocals were just a huge upgrade for me. The more bucolic folk sound is way more my thing than the previous work's kind of post-punk energy, with very progressive song structures that are almost early Genesis-like at times. Now we hop over to Another very musically deep album, I think. You know, just a deep well that gets better and better every time you listen. This album has dense textures, but also super atmospheric cinematic moments. It's kind of one I'd characterize as prog adjacent alternative rock. And just all around great songs, great production on the 6th album by the British band Doves called Constellations for the Lonely. It's actually the first I've heard of this band, and they really do remind me of like late 90s Porcupine Tree, some of the poppier stuff from Lightbulb Sun, that kind of era, but also the prog kind of tinges in there. And more so probably of the band Elbow, not only for the vocal accent, which is pretty similar, but also just the rich, husky timbre of the voice. But the band actually trades vocalists from song to song on this album, and each one brings something super unique. Just a very mature rock album here, and one that requires a few listens to really wrap your head around. So far, all these albums have been surprises to me, whether they're new bands entirely or just bands I forgot about or had no expectations from. But this next album was my probably most anticipated album of the year from what I think is the pop rock band of the moment. I've already mentioned the Lemon Twigs. And that is Brian Diodario's solo album, Till the Morning. I love Brian, I love Michael, but I've always been more of a Brian guy at heart. Brian's just weird chord progressions, his use of modulation with super, super catchy pop hooks. It's amazing, and it's very much in the spirit of Brian Wilson. Till the Morning isn't quite up there with the Twigs albums, but it's still a 9 out of 10 album for me, and I especially love some of the upbeat tracks, Nothing on My Mind, and This Summer, and Flash in the Pan, which is probably my song of the year so far. But the ballads and slow cuts are great as well. You know, there's something so classic and timeless sounding about the melodies on Company or Spirit Without a Home. Just a master songsmith here in his prime. I'm so glad they were able to just get these out without the hassle of a label or any sort of situation with a label holding them back. And we know there is a lot more coming from these guys. And while the Twigs are making dad rock cool again, this next artist is really the new dad rock. What was once cutting edge with Animal Collective is now, you know, music for 30-year-old dads like myself. It's Panda Bear with Ends Meet. I love this album cover, first off. Love the album name as well, Sinister Grift, just But the music is also superb, very breezy at times. You know, you got his classic floating voice and plenty of dub influence, which just keeps things bouncy and fun. Lyrical gloom balanced by sunny vibes, you know, classic Panda Bear. The song Ends Meet is such a banger and so stupid at the same time. And I love the darker, slower songs near the end of the album. I've been a fan of Animal Collective, Panda Bear for a long time, and this is the best thing in years from that group. Switching gears to some acoustic singer-songwriter stuff, it's one of my favorite young artists and an album I covered earlier in the year. It's Klark Sound with This Is Music, which is a follow-up to last year's What Is Music. Is this just who I am, but I can't recognize him? This is, like I said, just pure acoustic singer-songwriter stuff, but with Klark's expert musicianship. This guy is a mega talent, and you'll see it right away if you watch any of his live videos. I think he plays and records these songs live on YouTube. You can find them. Intimate and very pretty, but complex and jazzy. Just great stuff. This next find came from an interview over at Taste Like Music's channel, so big shout out, thank you to Jason over there. It's more in the alt country vein, kind of indie rock, a little bit of Wilco in there. It's the album Impossible Songs by Future Crib. It's all analog recording here, and you really feel that warmth, you really feel the the tight performances, the chemistry of the band. I've been listening to this one a lot lately. All right, we got 4 albums left here. I'm going to roll through them pretty quick. The next one is from Vinyl Williams. It's another vibrant psychedelic pop album in Polyhaven. This whole sound kind of went by the wayside, like I mentioned, but he's one of the torchbearers and really doing neo-psychedelia better than anyone at the moment. Celestial sounds from him again here. You know, this burst of color really says it all. All right, got to make these last 3 fun. These are all some of my favorite artists, just period, and at least by their standards, I feel like all 3 of these albums were a little bit disappointing. But when I kind of stacked every album against each other for the year so far, I felt like they still needed to be there. I still really like these albums. And the first one is the new one, Phantom Island by King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. I'm a massive fan of this band. I have been probably since 2015-ish with like Quarters and Paper Mache Dream Balloon, and then Nonagon came out and it was just like, phew. So I've been actually working on ranking the albums, listening back to all of them. This one is interesting. I feel similarly to Flight B741 or whatever it's called. You know, kind of a downslide for the band a little bit for me. Very feel-good records, but I feel like just a little bit of curation, you know, combining the best songs from this album and that one because they were written around the same time period, I think. And just making one really solid album would have been great. Even if it kind of breaks up like the thematic hook of each album, you know, the marketing headline, the orchestral album, the old boogie rock album or whatever. Most of the time with them, I'm like, I don't feel like they sacrifice quality in their incredible quantity, but this is an instance where, yeah, I just don't think the songs are on the same level as past work. That being said, I had a ton of fun with the album. There are some songs I love. I wish there was a little bit more like Dead Stick. The opening title track is great, which is maybe why I have this overall sense of just kind of like, I don't know, maybe this is lower half of the King Giz discography, but still a really fun album, you know, 7 out of 10, something like that. And then next, I also got to shout out the new one from Steven Wilson, The Overview. A handful of months ago, I ranked the Steven Wilson album, said a little bit more about this album, so I'll kind of spare it, but, you know, I think it's really solid. Do I go back to it ever? Not really. And last on the list has got to be the new album from Coheed and Cambria, the father of Make Believe. I did review this one as well, and I criticized it pretty strongly for the production. I feel like it was kind of flatlined, you know, pretty heavy compression. But the songs are really good. I don't think it stands toe-to-toe, again, with some of their earlier work. But yeah, I really love it. If this was a new band coming in, like any of these last 3 albums, if this was a new artist coming, I would be so excited about it. There's a distinct lack in my list of like classic sounding retro progressive rock. There's a lack of metal entirely. Progressive metal is usually a little pocket that I'm just missing this year. But I stand by my recommendations. They're going to keep you busy for a while. And yeah, I'd love to hear what you're listening to. Let me know. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel. And as always, thank you so much for watching.